Ani Bojo Kwe. It's Catherine here from Moonstarlodge. Welcome if you're new. Welcome back if you've been around for a while. We are Indigenous elders in Central Ontario, and we bring our expertise in Indigenous arts, spirituality, and entertainment. Oh my goodness. Education. Let's try that. Clearly, I've not had enough coffee yet. It's just about Thanksgiving weekend, and I've done a video with Brian for the week of October 10th and mentioned in that video that I wanted to do a catch up with some of the new decks, or new to me decks, that I've acquired. Some of them are for the spooky season. Some of them are just old friends that have had expansion packs and that sort of thing. So this isn't a walkthrough. I just want to discuss, and in a couple of cases very candidly, my feelings on some of the decks that have come into my collection. I'm fairly careful about how I shape my collection. I feel like a steward, and the stewardship aspect means to compile a fairly broad, inclusive collection of cards that encompass many cultures. And while they are primarily tarot and oracles, I do have other forms of divination because they are specific to a particular cultural group. But with the spooky season here and Samhain at the end of the month, we just having the full moon of Weaves the Web on Thanksgiving weekend, I thought I would share with you some of the newer additions and what strikes me about them or not. So I'm going to start with a non-Halloween deck, but one that I feel is important, and I'm going to have Brian flip the camera now. I just received the Sufi Tarot by Aida Hussein. Of all things, it's a Hay House deck. Now, I haven't spent much time with it. In fact, no time. As you can see, this is clearly still on here. But I have seen reviews, and I have read information from the author, and the art style is lovely, and the Hay House cardstock is lovely. And why would I be interested in this? Well, she's using Sufi names for the cards, and I've had for a very long time the Sufi Wisdom Oracle by Rasuli. I have collected Rumi and other Eastern authors on Eastern traditions that are ancient. Rumi, the works of Rumi very much impact me personally. As you know, although I am Indigenous, I am an interfaith minister, so it was my training to get as much information about as many spiritual traditions. So I have been a student of spiritual traditions. So this, having come in this week, is very opportune to work with the Rasuli Oracle. Now, Rasuli's Oracle is a little bit different in its art style, but the wisdoms and the concepts should work. Well, these are very similar visions. This is the light form of this woman in her physical form, and so on. So they're going to be a delight to work with, and I'm shocked that it's a Hay House deck, and I'm shocked at the great quality of the cardstock. I'm going to just put that off to the side. So that's one. It's not about Halloween, but, you know, it's okay. In fact, I'm going to get an extra copy of this in if anybody wants one in the studio. All right, so that's not Halloween. Another one that isn't Halloween is one that was suggested to me by a tarot reader called Aquamarine 18. I believe her name's Laura, and it's the Numinous Tarot by Cedar McLeod. Now, Cedar is a well-known author for being inclusive in her imagery. Cedar is a non-binary, probably what one would call a two-spirit person, and is also disabled. So the images in the cards creates a story of inclusivity, of age, capabilities, gender, identity, sexuality, but they're not soft in the sense they're beautiful, but they pull punches. It's not my favorite art style, I'll be honest there, and you know, for the most part the pips are paintings and not just, you know, 9 pentacles or what have you. As I get to know this deck, the names of the suits are different from what our usual paradigm is. So it's not a beginner deck, but it's extraordinarily inclusive, and I applaud Cedar for this. Now, a companion deck that I got from her at the same time, trying to save shipping, came in this hand-painted box, and it's a 52 card deck. These are the backs. This deck is all about oracle status. It will be usable with this, but I see it being usable with other decks. Now, my only issue with this, for me, I can see the word action very clearly here, but, and there's ancestor, there's belonging, I can see that, but some of the cards, it's very difficult to see, and I'm developing some pretty severe visual impairment. That's my only issue with this, but I don't care. I will get to know the cards and use them. There is no book with this deck, just so that you know. There is a book with the Numinous Tarot. So these are both decks I look forward to using. Again, they're not in the tradition of spooky season, but they are very important to know. And now we're going to get into spooky season decks. This is the Horror Tarot. Tarot, I can't speak today. It's a tarot deck. There is a guidebook. It's a little bit Disney-like in its art style, and that's the only thing that throws me off. I very much need to really resonate with the art, particularly if I want to use a deck for path working. And trying to give you the name. It's Insight Editions. Abigail Larson is the illustrator, and it's written by Aria Gameter and Minerva Siegel. Minerva Siegel is a big name in the tarot community. So that's that one. Will I use it? Yes, but it would probably be one I could use for clients rather than doing work with it myself, just because I find that Disney-like imagery is not my style. This is new, and this is juicy. This is Deep, Dark, and Dangerous Oracle by Stacy DeMarco. Stacy has been around for a long time, and I think she's not known as well as she should be. Beautiful cards, snake, we've got red gilding. It's always oracles that she does, but you've got different cards here. Molokai, you've got Frankenstein, you've got Kali, you've got AOC. This woman knows her mythical creatures who are monstrous, and she's thrown in, I think, a Frankenstein in here, if I recall from my first walkthrough. I like Stacey DeMarco decks. I have several of them, quite a number of them. I don't have all of them. The bank account won't allow, but the ones that to me speak of uniqueness, I love them. Now, the Barbara Moore Trick or Treat Tarot just came in yesterday with illustrations by Jonathan Hunt. I'm sitting on the fence with this. I haven't worked with it enough. It's not a path working deck. Here's your Fool, little child in a really cheesy ghost costume. But it's a story deck. A lot of people in it. Nothing scary, like you could use this with kids if you wanted to. Very interesting artwork. The pips are all illustrated. Whether it's my thing, I think it has, I have to work with it for a while, but it's the Trick or Treaters, Trick or Treat deck, and this is the Trick or Treaters Companion. Barbara Moore is an amazingly knowledgeable person, and I have a number of her books and other decks. That was an expensive deck, I just want to say. Now, some that have been around for a while. The Ghosts and Spirits Tarot by Lisa Hunt. I just referenced this in my last video that we just did for starting on Thanksgiving Day. Now, I mentioned I didn't like the Disney-like art, and that's from any deck, not just the one I was speaking of. This deck is 100% opposite. Lisa Hunt has produced a number of tarot decks. This one here, the Page of Cups, you really have to look into the image. It's complex art. And this is the Four of Swords. So where I find this advantageous is path working. If you're doing some self-work and you want to send your spirit, what path working is to send your spirit visually in a meditation right into the card, as if you're stepping through a doorway and joining the protagonist on the card. And as you do that, you see yourself now interacting. You put yourself forward as interacting within the scene, stepping out of it as two-dimensional into a three-dimensional form. How do you react? What do you see? Does anything make you frightened? And relate it in your journaling to the specific intention of the card. So it's this Lisa Hunt deck. I have other Lisa Hunt decks, differing kinds. But this one is called the Ghosts and Spirits Tarot. And it is a mass market deck. You can, I don't know if it's US Games. Yeah, it is US Games. Came out in 2011. It's getting harder to find, but you can get it. And I'm strongly suggesting, if you are a collector and somebody who enjoys going into the liminal spaces to do path working, this is a great deck. I know it well. Now, one that I just received that I've been waiting for was a Kickstarter. It's the Embroidered Graveyard deck. Now, this is the deck, and I think of this as a classy presentation. The woman's name is Anastasia. It's just gone out of my head. Sorry, Alicia. Alicia, not Anastasia, Alicia. So this was created by this woman. She did a Kickstarter called The Embroidered Forest. And what she did is embroider the images for all the cards in the tarot of the Embroidered Forest. And then she took digital pictures and wrote them up as a tarot. This is her follow-up deck. So if you were to, I don't know if Brian can do this, but if he can zoom in on a card, you will see that this is actually her embroidery. These are no longer, can you zoom in at all, honey? Okay, so these are her embroideries. And they're stunning. There are 68 cards in this deck. They all have the gilding. They have the gilding on the side. I don't know how the camera is catching the gilding on the card, but then you've got the double planchette. So they are reversible if you wanted them to be. The box is lovely. It's a magnetic box, and the book is classy. She's got all of the illustrations in a larger size, again in color, so that you can see a little bit better the embroidery that's happened here. But she's got all the information about it and some introspection to journal with. Again, I just received this, and I've been eager to work with it. I'm not sure if it works with the Embroidered Forest as a pairing card, but this certainly works for me with some of the other decks that I use, particularly things like the Claire Goodchild deck, the Antique Anatomy, or the Marigold Tarot. I will be using this with a number of my spooky decks, and it is stunning. It is such a class act. It makes me want to make sure that I'm very careful as I get my own decks done to make sure that they are the same classy presentation. One of the non-spooky decks that I got in this week, this is the Black Violet Tarot, and it has somber notes. Now, I have used this, and this is a numbered deck, and it was a Kickstarter. This is the Black Cherry edition, but this isn't really what I'm showcasing. I'm struggling to get it in or out of the box here. The cards are slippery. Very, very distinct art style, and this is Heidi Phillips. Now, what came this week was her Blackbird Lenormand, which does work. The original deck coloring was black and white. So the black and white Lenormand gives the starkness of this time. But what I love, the images are clear, and she uses the old regular playing card attribute in the corner. So you can see these, for somebody like me who's developing some visual impairment, I would have no difficulty at all seeing the imagery for what it is. I don't have to guess. There is a book that goes with it with just some basic keywords, and that's fine. If you are a student of Lenormand, you know that you can get lots of different reference materials. I'm just looking for because I've used these, I've mixed them up. It just occurs to me to show you her people card. Of course, it'll be the last ones I come on. Them and you. So she gets rid of the gender issues in Lenormand by them and you. So easy peasy. Some authors do 2 female cards and 2 male cards so that you can mix up the couples, the cards for couples, but she just keeps it simple, them and you. So I'm looking forward to a black and white deluxe edition of this tarot, and then these will all work together beautifully. Now, two more. I don't know if I've done a video since I received the last update in August, and I'm pretty sure I haven't, on the Memento Mori decks. Way back when, the noise in the background is my dog. Just ignore the dog. The original Antique Anatomy Tarot, put out by Claire Goodchild from Toronto, came out, oh, I want to say 2016. I'm just looking here. This one is 2019, so I'm ahead of myself. If you look at the box, this is the original box, this is the updated version. They're exactly the same information, the same book, but you can see that this is a thicker box because a lot of people thought that the cardstock on the original version was too thin. So that was replaced. So if you're worried and you've heard that rumor, it is true that the cardstock was thinner. I don't have any problem with it. It's the version of the deck that my energy is in, so I use it. But you know that whatever you buy, wherever you buy it, like Amazon, it's going to be just a little bit thicker. So it's a classic deck with Memento Mori, things relating to death, anatomical drawings, accoutrements of the funeral industry, very Victorian looking, lots of florals, not gory at all. And Claire has done wonders capturing the concepts of Memento Mori. And I'll just get these back in the box. I fumble a lot because I have rheumatoid arthritis and my fingers are spazzy. So what I haven't shown you, I think everybody knows the Antique Anatomy if you're at all into tarot, and if you're not, I suggest that you get some, are the expansion decks, which you order not on Amazon, but through her website. So the, let me just organize these here. So she has the Memento Mori, Lenormand, and Oracle. This is something like 80 cards. The first 36 are Lenormand cards and the rest are oracular in nature. So you can pull out the Lenormand cards or use them all together with a guidebook. Then she has the Ancestors and Advisors pack. Then she has the Timing Expansion pack. The General Expansion pack, and this is the book to this deck. So you've got all these add-ons, which makes my inner 3-year-old giddy. And I love that. I love being able to work with expanded knowledge. So that's the Claire Goodchild cards, and you can get them on her website. The last thing that came in very recently was originally a Kickstarter by Holly Loiseau. What she originally did, it's a magnetic box. The original Kickstarter had the teeny tiny tarot. It is a full tarot deck and it's all ghosts and it's lots of fun. It came in this box, but the box was mostly empty. So what she did in a second version to expand on her Kickstarter was to provide the remaining decks. So in the first iteration, it was, I believe, these ghosts and the coin and this box. And what just came for me this week was the part 2. So this is the messages cards. There's 30 in that box. This is the dreams cards. the opposites cards, omens from everyday objects. This is curiosities. And then there was a little bunch of 20 cards with questions. So if you wanted to formulate a reading, you could lay out these question cards and then pull cards from these other decks. So questions include, what will be entering my life? What or who is holding me back? What does Spirit want me to know? That sort of thing. So I put them in one of my own little Moonstar bags here to just keep them connected since they didn't have their own box. I'm not going to take the time to open these up, but I will use them during spooky season here for you. And I delight in this. These are fun cards. I use them all year long. I don't leave them to spooky season. Well, at least I used the Teeny Tiny Tarot and the Ghosts before in my readings. They all fit together in here. You can pop the coin down the side, close it up. You can flip the camera, Brian. That was a very quick, not meant to be full flip throughs or anything, just to give you ideas of some of the newer decks that have come my way and some of the ones that are for spooky season. I haven't done one of these videos in a long time. I apologize for my voice. I have not been feeling the best. And before I go, I'd like to thank you for those people who showed up to the Bay Studio Tour on October 1st and 2nd. We're very honored and humbled to have had you visit our studio. If you like these videos, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe. I'm twice a week on Instagram with real short 3, 4, 5 minute midweek top-ups to the big video that's here on YouTube. We have a Linktree connection. You can see where we are. We have coffee. I can't do these without my coffee, so you can throw me a donation. And we're looking forward to getting some classes going on standard parapsychology and states of consciousness, forms of divination like tarot and tea leaf reading. These are things we've been teaching for 40 years, but with COVID, the past 3 years, classes went right out the window. We're trying to find a way to make that happen, so we're closing off some of the studio space, putting everything online to open that studio space up for students, not just students who can come locally, but we're going to be broadcasting them. So the coffee tiers allow access to classes and things like that. Anyway, if you want to be on our mailing list, do shoot us an email through the website. We are moonstarlodge.com, and Brian and I wish you well and peace. Aho. Now